Hello.
Hey.
Hi, my name's Taryn.
And I'm Tate.
And this is Plant That Sis podcast. We are two sisters who just love chatting about houseplants. Hello, everyone. Welcome back.
Welcome back. I'm just going to echo Taryn, apparently.
How's everybody doing?
How are the plants looking?
How are those plants holding up? Have you been able to water them?
It's getting warmer up here in the northern hemisphere, I guess, for those of y'all that are in the northern hemisphere. I know we have some people listening. Shout out to the one or two people listening from the southern hemisphere.
Yes. Crazy. What is life like down there?
Yeah. Good day.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the time change. It's kind of a painful daylight savings time change, but I'm excited for longer days.
I'm not.
You don't want the sunset to happen at 7 p.m.?
I like the darkness.
Wow.
So,
you're a vampire.
Yeah. I'm kind of like a goth person or whatever.
Oh my God, whatever. I used to be that way. I don't know what happened. Now I'm the other way. I like the long days.
No, I'm excited.
I'm happy for my plants.
Yeah, I like it because my plants will actually be happy and grow. I just don't like how freaking hot it gets here.
True.
It gets too hot. Like right now, the weather's perfect. It's just a little cool outside. The sun feels good. I just know in like a week, it's going to be up to crazy temperatures. So, but it's fine. C'est la vie.
C'est la vie.
I say it like a Texan. C'est la vie.
C'est la vie. Okay, so
right, anyways.
It's March, guys, which is what we're talking about. We're
Spring
so excited.
Is in the air.
OMG. People making babies left and right, rabbits and stuff.
I was like, which people? Are you going to announce something on this podcast, Taryn?
Absolutely not. Nope. No,
yes,
and no.
Animals are about to be getting busy.
The birds are about to get louder.
Yes, the birds are starting to sing where I'm at. I got a mockingbird outside my yard that won't shut up.
Oh, don't you love it?
Right outside my window. No. If it were literally any other bird, I'd be like, hell yeah. But with the mockingbird, it's just annoying.
That's on your naughty list.
Yeah, it's on my naughty list. That is the Texas state bird, though, so...
Is it really? Why did I think it was the roadrunner?
I think another state's bird is the roadrunner. I wish it was the roadrunner. I think other states have the mockingbird as their bird, too, so it's like we're not even special.
Yeah, like... There's got to be enough kinds of birds for all of us to have our own, and we didn't choose that.
And we picked a mockingbird, like... I'm like, what? Whatever, it wasn't my choice, so...
Well, we're in March, and it's time to talk about our favorite, drumroll please, plant of the month. Plant of the month. And you guys know and love this one. There's a lot of varieties of this one, but it is the Tradescantia, or what we like to call it, the Wandering Jewel.
Yes.
You might hear it referred to as the Wandering Jew, and that is... I didn't do a lot of research, guys. Let's be honest. I didn't dive deep into this, but the little light research I did do on why it's called that reveals that comes from some pretty offensive stuff. So
yeah, I just do not feel comfortable.
What an easy switch to say jewel instead of Jew. So why don't we all just make that choice? Join us. Yeah, I've also heard wandering dude, but let's make it feminine. Let's make it a female thing.
Wandering
why don't
jewel.
we? So we're gonna go wandering jewel. But the species name and all that, the details, the real stuff you're here for, Tate's going to spill it, so I'm not even going to try to tell.
All right, so Tradescantia is a huge genus, right? So there's 75 species of perennial wildflowers.
75?
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of species in this genus. So
wow.
So the perennial wildflowers, perennial meaning that they'll come back, I think twice or something like that. They basically die in the winter and then come back. In my experience, that's usually what happens.
Yes.
Mine always come back every year, so that's what that means. So this plant, like I said, there's 75 species in this genus of Tradescantia, so all of them will look a little bit different based on what species it is, but just in general, the ones that Taryn and I will probably talk about today are kind of purple in color. They have longer, thinner leaves and they produce purple flowers, small purple flowers. They're really pretty.
And their growing pattern is like it continues out. Like, I guess that makes no sense, but if you could see all my hand gestures, I feel like you guys would be totally
It grows, just all you have to know is that it grows out of the ground.
Really?
I'm just kidding. It's almost like a vine. It doesn't grow on things, but it grows out of the ground in that kind of fashion, I feel like.
It just like it's like it makes a little funnel and then it grows a new leaf and it continues that funnel to pop out leaves. Basically, I've been able to identify this type of plant by its growing pattern in a couple different situations when it didn't look like the original one I thought it was. But I can't believe there's 75. I literally thought there was like 5 different kinds.
Well, that's in the genus. Okay. So, I mean,
that's speaking Spanish, sis.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about how to explain it. So there's genus,
species,
and then species, right? So genus encompasses a larger group, and then the species are the individual.
So maybe I'm thinking of species.
Of yeah.
Okay.
Well, wait, what you mean thinking of species?
I don't know. Why don't you keep going?
All right.
And I'll just stop talking.
It doesn't matter. It's all good. There's just a lot of Tradescantia plants. So I think most Tradescantia plants are native to, at least the ones that we're going to talk about today are native to Mexico. So Tradescantia zebrina and Tradescantia padilla, which is the wandering jewel.
Surely that's Padilla. If it's
Padilla?
From Mexico? Padilla?
Padilla.
Or is that trying too hard?
Padilla. It probably is Padilla. You're probably right. So T. zebrina and T. Padilla are native to Mexico. So for Taryn and I, we're kind of in their range. We're in Texas, so we're a little outside their range, but they still grow pretty good here. Pretty easy growers, just because they're native to this area. They've adapted to this climate, so they're easy for us. At least the purple heart is. I'm sorry, the wandering jewel is pretty easy for us. But I also found some interesting facts that I thought was cool. So, okay, when we have names like, Tradescantia zebrina and all these like Latin names for animals and plants, basically someone a long time ago created that kind of, for lack of a better word, lexicon or like this dictionary of plants so that, people with 2 different languages and 2 different words in their language for an animal can refer to it by its like, Latin name. That's the idea.
One common.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so the name Tradescantia comes from English naturalists from the 1600s, John Tradescant the Elder and John Tradescant the Younger, who traveled to the New World and brought back one of the species of this genus to England. So basically that's what Tradescantia comes from. Pretty cool.
Interesting.
Yeah. The purple heart also is good at air, or it has air cleansing properties, kind of like we talked about earlier. It's good at filtering out volatile organic compounds, which are the ones, that's kind of what's responsible for like odors. So when stuff smells bad, it's usually a volatile organic compound. Think of like dog pee or something, right? And some pollutants. Yeah. So yeah, most of these aren't toxic, but they're just irritating to some people's respiratory systems, but also like who wants stuff to smell bad?
Yeah, we would just rather not have them.
Yeah.
No VOCs up in here.
Yeah, no, we're good. We're good. None of that. So yeah, I read that online when I was looking this up, so obviously I haven't really tested that myself, nor do I have a lot of purple hearts inside my house, but if you live somewhere with a good amount of light, maybe it could clean up some of those volatile organic compounds or bad smells, basically. And another thing is that some of these plants, or a lot of plants in this genus, or in Tradescantia, can spread and grow really quickly. That's something that I've noticed personally, having them, is that they grow really quickly. And in our experiment, in last episode that we talked about, it seemed that the Tradescantia...
Plug it.
Yeah. If you haven't listened to it, check it out.
Episode 14.
Experiment. Yeah. I did experiment. Basically, the Tradescantia plant we looked at grew in any of the mediums. It grew great. It was easy peasy. One of the least picky ones, the least picky one. So this plant can grow pretty quickly, and in some areas can become a weed. So just keep that in mind if you're wanting to plant some out in your yard. Somebody So I'm renting a house right now, and somebody here planted some purple hearts, and it has quickly taken over a huge section of the yard. So
ginormous.
Yeah, so there's a ton here. So just keep that in mind. They grow really fast and can propagate themselves really quickly.
And I'm going to go ahead and plug our episode number 9, Divas and Drama Queens, because as we were talking about most of those plants were plants that were hard to take care of. And what was funny was Tradescantia ended up being on the list a lot for just being too fast of a grower and being, quote, too much work to have to take care of, basically, and to pinch it back, which to me seemed so weird at the time. But throwing it out there, it can be that fast of a grower that some people find it a nuisance. So check out episode number 9 if you want to hear us talk about that stuff.
So Taryn, Taryn and I have both had this plant for a while. Give us your hot take on Purple Heart.
It's not a hot take because I love it. I'm in full support. But yes, Grammy gave us some Purple Heart, I don't know, several years ago at this point. This is in my Survivors Club that I kept outdoors on my patio and literally left for dead. And it came back year after year. And I still have it in the same pot. I'm debating if I should repot it this year, just freshen it up in there since it's been in there for a couple years now. But it grows back every year with no problem. And it's great. I have had it on covered patios, which isn't in the full sun that it sometimes likes to be in, and it does great. I also got a really big Zebrina for my birthday back in August, and this one's a little more tricky, a little more picky. It's doing okay, but man, can I harvest some cuttings from that thing to propagate. And I've been having fun with that. And then the only other one that I've had is I feel like I'm going to say this probably not correct, but the Tradescantia Nanook. And it's the pink one, and it's really pretty, but oh my God, it did not get along with me. I didn't get along with it. I don't know why it was such a problem, but I have chopped that plant and replanted that plant so many times at this point, and there's always issues with it. So I guess the fact that it's still surviving after that many, I'm talking months of putting it in different situations and it just failing enough, and then me being able to take just enough off the top and re-put it back in water to try again. It's really pretty.
Wow. Is it still alive?
Yeah, it is actually. But it's what I have left. I bought I want to say it was like a 4-inch plant, so probably had maybe 6 stems coming out, is now down to 2 stems, and I had cut them to I had to put them in the tiniest, cutest glass jar I had for it to even be able to stay up because it was so little. And so I've repotted it back in soil, and it is alive. We will see how it goes. But they're really pretty because they're
have to
pink.
Update us. Yeah, they're beautiful. I remember you were so excited about it. I can't believe it's still hanging in there.
Yeah,
I wonder what it is. I wonder what the issue is.
Yeah, I don't know why it's so delicate. And what I think is interesting about it, too, is so when I first got it, it was very much a pale pink with the green kind of variegation. I'm sure that's not the correct way technically to describe it, but that's kind of what it was like when I got it.
Sounds good to me.
And then I'm trying to think of what transformation it went through first, but basically I ended up after a while taking a bunch of cuttings and putting them in a super bright window, which is my bathroom window, and it turned violent hot pink, which I feel like I've said before. But
wow.
It turned the craziest, most insane, magenta burn your eyes color, which looked really awesome in my bathroom window. So I left it forever and ever and ever and ever, and it just got more and more and more dark and pink. And so now, since I've potted it back in soil, it's still pretty dark pink, but I feel like it's starting to get some of that green back, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it continues to transform, and we'll see how long it stays alive.
Yeah, you'll have to update us. I've noticed that when with the purple hearts that I've had, at least, that depending on how much sunlight they get, they change color.
Yep.
Which is hella cool, I thought. So maybe it's the same with yours, that it just got more sun and turned hot pink.
Well, and I think that makes sense because they get yours at your house, especially the ones kind of towards the front where your driveway is, get the most like pure, saturated, awesome color purple in the hot of the summer. And then obviously I think mine that I've had out on my covered patio is more green. And that kind of seems like it makes sense. Like maybe with the soil and being pulled a little further away from the window, it gets more green versus when they're in like full intense sun, they get more pink and purple.
Yeah, I mean, I've literally seen it happen. I had a Purple Heart, the one Grammy gave us, so I have one of those too. And like Taryn's, it has died and come back every year, constantly. I mean, even when we had our winter polar vortex, whatever the hell that was, it's coming back right now. It died, but it's coming back. So
already bouncing back.
But I've noticed that when I've had it previously, like, so I've talked about this probably a million times now, but where I lived before, where I live now, it was super shaded. There was like not a whole lot of light. And it would get really green. And, you know, honestly, I kind of like the way it looks because I feel like the leaves are a little bigger. And it's a little more green because they probably want more sun. But as soon as I moved here and put it in full sun, it got real purple real quick. So they look really cool. So I put mine in the sun, but also like in part shade. So it was like this cool, like purple green kind of mix instead of just one or the other. It looked really cool. Yeah. It's kind of fun to play around with, honestly.
Yeah, that gives me an idea for another experiment. Let's measure the colors in all different areas.
Yeah, let's do it.
Like, what kind of cool combinations can we come up with? And then how cute to pot them all up together. I mean, I don't know how well they'd survive, but it would look cool for a little bit.
Yeah, that would look really cool. And also, like, I have a Sabrina. So I at one point, you know, I was at the nursery. And I saw this big, beautiful Sabrina plant, and
oh, they look so good.
Spent literally way too much money on it because I was a broke college student, still am, but whatever. I spent too much money on it, bought it, and it was doing okay for a while. I think I probably overwatered it, and it started to die.
Overwatering? Wow.
And I got no sunlight in that apartment, so it just was not.
It was in your apartment.
Yeah, it was in that apartment. So I cut off a bunch of them, you know, and I have cuttings in water, and I've had them in water for literally probably over a year now, probably 2 years at this point, and they're still growing in the water fine. But get this, the leaves are like hella pink, like pink, not purple. Usually Sabrinas I feel like are, you know, have that purple undertone. It's like pink. So I haven't moved it because I like how it looks.
Yeah, there you go. That's what matters.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said earlier, this house that I live in, it has a ton of Purple Hearts everywhere. So recently I just went outside and like got a bunch of cuttings from them to take inside and try to root. When I got them, they're rooting right now. And even just bring them inside, they've already turned green again.
Really?
Cool. Yeah, they're already green.
Interesting.
And I noticed that there was a lot of flowers that they had. And the flowers had already kind of, at this point, the flowers had kind of gone away. Weren't really any flowers out there, but where the flowers were, I noticed there was a ton of seeds. So if you get your plants to flower, there will be a ton of seeds. I have a ton of Purple Heart seeds right now. Like, so many. I could probably go find more.
Oh my gosh.
Actually, no, I can't. They're all dead right now, but I still have a lot. Yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool.
Good thing you got your harvest in before the winter storm.
For real. And it's pretty cool. I was like, what is that?
That's crazy.
What is that in the? And I was like, oh, those are seeds. And some of them had actually like germinated.
Oh my gosh.
While they were still in like the stem of the flower. Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
That's giving me very Mother of Thousands vibes. You know what I mean?
Thousands? No.
You know those plants? Okay, I have one. I feel like you've seen it. It's a succulent, and basically it grows those little baby plants on the edge of its leaves, and it looks like yes.
And
they'll straight up grow at some point the longer they stay on there. It's so crazy to me.
Isn't that funny?
Another one that can become a dangerous weed. Be careful.
Yeah, exactly. And like these, I'm like 90% sure that whoever planted the Purple Heart at this house did not mean for it to spread to where it has spread, because it is like spread all around this house. And I'm not complaining because, you know, it's not my property or anything. I don't really feel like going out and doing a whole lot of work for a house I don't own, but it looks okay.
And they do really well in this in our climate. Like we see them all the time as landscaping, especially at like shopping centers and places that you know they put the agave, they put the Purple Heart, they put the things they know they don't have to really take care of. So that's what's nice about it, is it holds up by itself without needing. It's not needy outdoors in our area.
Yeah. But if you live somewhere where it rains a lot, then it may not do as well outside. But yeah, it's native to Mexico, so it's adapted to this habitat or this area, so it does okay here. Does too good here.
Speaking of what you were just saying, care-wise, we've talked a lot about the sun. Obviously, I think we've clarified enough up to this point. It likes a lot of sun, and it likes it direct and hot. Some like it hot, you know what we're saying? So
yes.
The more light you can give it, the better. And then as far as water and soil goes, it's kind of down the middle. For watering, it doesn't want to dry out too much between waterings. I think it can handle it. It's a hardier plant, so it'll bounce back from some underwatering, but you don't want to let it. I definitely have some leaves right now on my Zabrina that are dried and crispy that I know I've let it get too dry. So it can get too dry, and then same thing with it being too wet. And that leads me into soil, which is also kind of in the middle. You don't want to give it too much drainage. It doesn't want to be in like cactus, full crazy sandy soil. That's a ton of drainage. It likes some of that organic material that maintains the moisture, but it can drown also. So that's what's kind of tricky about this one. I think the Purple Heart you can let dry out a lot longer than the Zabrina. But
yeah, and it will depend on the species that you have. So we're covering like the genus, so there's a ton of species of Tradescantia out there. There's tons of different varieties out there. I'm sure there are a ton of guides online. So to be more specific about your specific Tradescantia plant you have, but we're just kind of talking about things in general.
And then again, back to that comment from earlier, some people think it's a pain to have to pinch back and keep looking groomed. And I mean, I definitely think if you don't have it in a very bright spot, then it can look a little leggy. But wow, what a great gift of propagation material forever and ever this plant is, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, it's chop and prop.
And honestly, I know the Zabrina is kind of basic, like it's pretty accessible, probably because it's so easy to propagate, but I love the way it looks. I think it's so stunning, especially when you give it that full sun so it gets the almost silvery in with the green. Like, I live for it. I don't care if it's basic. It looks so good to me.
Basic? Who cares?
And why wouldn't you want your plants to be somewhat easy to take care of? I mean, I know there's value in the rare stuff. And if you got the setup for it, go for it.
There is value in the rare stuff. If you have the money, time, and setup, like, I envy you. That's great. Me personally, I do not have the time or energy or money. So a plant like a Tradescantia that you can chop and prop, and that's, relatively, easy to grow. It's nice.
And I think it's something that you can share with the non-plant people in your life. And I think that's something that I want to try and do more of. I don't want to, if you have nothing but super rare and hard to care for plants, it's harder to share that joy and love, because obviously if you try to give people cuttings of your plants or whatever, they may not be as successful, and they may be like, then we feed back into the I can never keep any plants alive because I don't have a green thumb, which I've said 1 million times and still say sometimes, even though I know it's not true. I have lots of plants.
But look at you now. You have like 100 plants in that house.
Well, let me just tell you, after this freaking water debacle and not having water for this long, things are looking rough. My spring break project is to pick it up, sis. I gotta clean. I gotta repot. I gotta, it's just, I gotta do some real plant chores because things are looking really rough.
I have a lot of plant chores too.
We've definitely had some deaths recently. It's the no water for a couple weeks made things real rough. But my Tradescantia is doing just fine. So we love it.
We love it. See? When all else fails, at least your Tradescantia will be there. Unless I don't have what? Unless you don't have a lot of sun.
Right.
And you overwater it like I did.
Yeah, they're definitely not indestructible, but they're kind of flexible, kind of hardy. So hopefully we've sold you, like we always say at the end of a Plant of the Month episode, you should go buy one if you don't have one already, and you can use us as your excuse. We told you to do it. Again, these are a lot more accessible and oftentimes a lot more affordable. Recently, I went to Lowe's, I think it was 2 weekends ago, I went to Lowe's and they had hanging baskets for like $16 that were absolutely popping off beautiful. So, of course, I bought several to hang outside because I just stare at them. They also had Boston ferns that were like longer, that the fronds were longer than my arm. It was wild.
Did you buy one?
Yes. I bought 2.
You bought 2.
And they were also
you got 2
like $16.
ferns. But yeah, if you have some plants and you're feeling like you can kind of branch out maybe, I would definitely recommend a Tradescantia.
So you heard it here first, folks. Get it. Buy
Enjoy.
it. Chop it. Prop it. Break it. Fix it.
All right, Miss Daft Punk over here.
You should also send us a picture of your favorite Tradescantia that you have, your most bushy, beautiful, and sunny location Tradescantia. You can find us at Plant That Sis on both Instagram and Twitter. You can find us on our website, plantthatsis.com. And if you really want to get personal, send us an email. We'd love to hear from you, plantthatsis@gmail.com.
Yes, we would. Taryn is popping off on that Instagram. I gotta say, the pictures look good. She has all the photo editing talent.
Bro, you had better stop. Boy, you better.
Well,
I'm such an amateur, guys, but hey, plant pictures are plant pictures, so whatever.
Well, if you think you're an amateur, then that means I'm what, I don't even know, juvenile? I mean, what is even before amateur? Juvenile.
Well, thanks. You're nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, follow us, hang out with us. Hope you guys can enjoy some Tradescantia love in your life, and we'll see you peeps next week. Happy spring, happy March.
And see y'all next time.
Yep. Okay, bye.